Growing up Italian, I'm all about the pasta. Every Sunday we'd have Sunday gravy. So I love to experiment with different sauces. And this recipe, my Cacio e Pepe pasta pie, is really a great recipe to have in your repertoire because you can travel with it. When the weather gets warm and you want to have a nice picnic or you want to bring a pasta dish to a party, this recipe is perfect. Super easy to make, very few ingredients. Just make sure that you buy the best Pecorino Romano cheese you can buy. I love the brand Fulvi, but there's other great brands out there. And this dish is super crunchy and creamy. It's got all the good stuff. So the water's boiling. I'm gonna add a little salt. And now the pasta. Today I'm using spaghetti, but you can use some other long, sturdy pasta like bucatini, linguine, fettuccine, spaghettoni. And we're a big fan in our house of rigatoni. You can even use that pasta. So go ahead and drop your pasta in the salty water. And the pasta's long, so I like to really stir that in because you want the pasta to cook evenly. So you need to stand by your pot. Do not get distracted because you want this pasta al dente, which that translates to the tooth. And what you want is you don't want your pasta mushy and you don't want it crunchy. You want it in between. So it'll give you a little bit of bounce, a little bit of resistance when you bite into it. And when you actually cut the pasta in half, you'll see a little white dot or a little white line. That's actually the starch, and that's what you want to see. Because remember, there's going to be another cooking stage to this pasta pie, so we don't want to cook it too much now. So I'm going to keep a watch on it, probably at about 7 minutes. I'll test a noodle and see if it's the exact texture I like, and then got to pull it. Okay, the noodles look really good. I'm going to give one a taste. We're about a minute away, so let's add our peas. So fresh peas are the best, but really you can use frozen peas in this recipe. There's such good brands out there. They pick the peas at the peak of ripeness. So we just added the peas at the, for the last minute of pasta cooking. And then we're going to drain them. And then I like to run the pasta and peas under just a little bit of cold water just to stop the cooking process. And before draining the pasta, we want to make sure to reserve about a cup of the starchy water because that's going to be part of our sauce later. So I freshly grated my peppercorns. So let's add a half a cup of water to the mix. Let's see. A little bit more. Let's start there. All right. So now we're adding the Pecorino Romano cheese. And if you don't have Pecorino Romano, you can use Parmesan cheese, you can use Manchego cheese, Asiago cheese. Just make sure that you're using a brick cheese. Now give this a good stir. It's going to be lumpy. That's okay. So now when it comes to adding eggs, if you don't temper your eggs, it's going to curdle and you're going to end up with scrambled eggs. And we don't want that. So to temper the eggs, you have a whisk. Let's add a tablespoon or a teaspoon of the mixture and just whisk that real well. And what this is doing is it's gradually heating up the egg yolks. When you bring it up gradually with the heat, it won't curdle. Let's add one more in there. Now we'll move on to the big whisk, and now let's gradually add the tempered eggs to the cheese mixture, whisking as we go. I love the smell of Pecorino Romano. It's just so robust, earthy, nutty. Parmesan is good too. It's a little less salty and a little bit sweeter. Okay, so to get the perfect texture of your sauce, you want it creamy and glossy, and it's still a bit clumpy. So I'm going to add a little bit more water, and we'll whisk as we go. Perfect. I think this is excellent. So now let's add the pasta and peas. Mix that all together. You want to make sure that the sauce evenly coats the pasta. Oh, this is looking real good. The sauce is nice and glossy, creamy. Perfect. We got a good mixture going. Okay, let's add some pepper to the breadcrumbs, some cheese, because in this dish you cannot have too much cheese, and a little bit of olive oil, about 2 tablespoons. Mix that up. These are going to add a nice crunch to the top of the pie. So let's transfer the pasta mixture into our springform pan. I've greased it beforehand. That's very important because it'll make it real easy to get the pie out of the springform pan when you're ready to serve. Okay, let's get that in. And if you don't have a springform pan, don't worry about it. You can use a deep dish pie plate. You can use a cake pan. You can use a casserole dish. Again, just make sure that you grease it first before you add the pasta. Now, I'm going to press my mixture down. You want to get rid of any air pockets. So just give it a gentle press. Be careful not to break the peas. I love pasta and peas together. Just gives you a little hint of sweetness. Oh, I think that looks perfect. Okay, let's add the breadcrumbs. I'm just going to use my fingers because I want to evenly place these. Okay, so I have my oven at 350 degrees, and let's bake this for about 30 to 40 minutes. You know when it's done when it gets a nice golden brown on the top. So this pasta pie smells amazing. So the key to getting this out of the pan easily is to make sure to let it set for about 15 minutes. This allows the sauce to set up. And I just love a good springform pan. Watch how easy it is to get this pie out. Perfect. So let's cut into it and taste it. Super easy to slice. I think this is going to be one of your new favorite recipes. There we go. And it's so pretty too. You can serve this dish hot or at room temperature. And I love the pepper breadcrumbs. It really adds a nice crunch to the top. Let's give it a taste. Oh, wow. This is really good. My family reheats pasta after a delicious Sunday gravy. So usually on Monday, my parents will heat up a little olive oil and a cast iron skillet and put that leftover pasta in there to just kind of crisp up. Well, that's what my Cacio e Pepe pasta pie reminds me of, because it has that nice crispy texture, but also that nice creamy soft texture in the middle. It's bringing back really good memories.